Absolutely. Well, and there's been so many recent changes, particularly on Google's part, improvements in their ability to determine. For instance, Hummingbird is now getting a much closer, laser focusing on what is the query really about.
Yep.
Okay, their algorithms are now able to determine not what words or even synonyms are being used in this sentence, but what was in the preceding paragraph and what is the general context of this entire document,
Right.
and match that to that query. And they're getting better at it. We're not at the at Tim Berners-Lee's dream of the semantic web yet, but we have
No,
taken some very, very important steps toward that.
I
And I
think
think that there are ways, if site owners are paying attention to what is happening and trying to determine what seems to be the goal, where are they going, then there's a number of opportunities to build an edge over their competitors.
absolutely.
Content strategy is, to my mind's eye, is becoming more important. You can't just put up stuff that you think is cute or interesting or informative. You got to make sure that it's cute, interesting, or informative to your audience. And to
Right.
do that, you got to know who the hell the audience is. Okay, so
Imagine that.
yeah, what a radical concept, eh?
Shocker.
So, what would you say? What are some of the things that a company can do to give them an edge over their competition in terms of content strategy?
Well, I think that it really all goes back to understanding who your customers are and who your prospects are and what they need and how you can serve them. And we marketers and sales teams are very egocentric. What we care about is selling our crap. That's all we care about. How much of this did you sell? How did what kind of marketing messages can we cram down people's throats? We are not used to thinking of what it is we do in a how can I serve you capacity. And what needs do you have? And what problems do you have? And in all candor, I think that the companies who figure that out, that's the competitive edge, and that's not rocket science. But 9 times out of 10, brands don't get that. They're really focused on their marketing messages. Go to any website and you'll see, we have award-winning software and our award-winning this, and who gives a shit about awards? Do you think your customers really care about awards?
Right, they don't
I'm
care
pretty,
about you.
I'm pretty sure they don't.
Unless you're helping them, unless you're giving them something they want.
Exactly.
Right.
Or you help them win an award. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? But when you look at brand messaging on corporate websites, when you look at brand messaging in the social media space, when you look at brand messaging on a blog, I swear to God, I feel like my job every day is like it's like going out in the Swamp Gator show and wrestling alligators because I left a meeting to come here where somebody said, yeah, we need to just be sure those LinkedIn profiles of our sales team read, about what a great company we are and, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what if their LinkedIn profiles read in such a way that they sounded human and that they sounded like people with great experience at solving problems that their customers might have? What about that?
Hmm.
Right.
And so I think that the answer is that brands can do really easy things, and those things are right in front of their noses, but they don't get that. And I'm not sure, somebody else in the same meeting where we were talking about, I have a client that's sending 20 people to a conference in 2 weeks that's the biggest conference in their industry. And by the way, their projects are billion-dollar projects. Okay? 20 people. Imagine what that might cost. 20 people that are going to be manning the booths, people that are in charge of business development, people that are speaking, and one of the conversations that we had a month ago was, we really should We'd love to help you. We really should work to get your team's LinkedIn profiles where they need to be. We should work to create content on the blog that speaks to, what's happening at the conference, trends in this industry. We have several people speaking at that event. We should write some content on the blog that's on those topics on which they will be speaking. By the way, the conference is 1 week away, and you know how much of that has happened? Yeah, 0. And in a meeting with the VP of that division, he said, yeah, we really got to start doing this stuff because 10 years from now it's going to be really important. And I'm thinking, God bless you.
Wow.
Now.
Dare I say humanize corporate America? Which brings me to another question, which is involved in social media. I see you a lot on Facebook. You're the queen of Facebook. When I get on there, there isn't one day that I don't see a few posts that have 500 million responses and likes. So you're very engaged. But do you think B2B, maybe even B2C? Do you think the reach that Facebook has or has had has plateaued? And can companies still find value in using Facebook?
I think that Facebook is very valuable. I think that the danger of Facebook is that what people aren't thinking about is the path to acquisition of fans has been something that many brands have been focused on for a while. And that path to acquisition, but that has changed in the last 2 or 3 years. So, and what's changed, as we all know, Facebook's algorithm limits your access to your fans. Oh, well, you've built a community, you built a Facebook brand page with 100,000 fans. That's super. Now, if you want to reach them, you can pay us. So, I think there are a lot of brands that don't. And there are many brands that do and that use Facebook and that have great results, but there are a lot of brands that don't really understand that just sharing content isn't enough. We had a client that was an e-com business that sold little girls hair accessories, and when we first started working with them, they had a Facebook presence of about 9,000 fans, and what they were doing on Facebook was everything was very brand centric. There was not ever a post that wasn't selling something, and even better, the links that they were sharing on that Facebook page, it would say, "Oh, here's our new blah blah blah." And the link that they would share would take you not to the product page for that particular product. It would take you to the homepage of the website, which was awesome. And so so one of the things that we did was kind of develop a whole different strategy for content sharing on Facebook, and it was around promoting and actually making it easy for customers to take that path to purchase. And then, it was also awesome, and as an e-com business, I do a lot in the B2B space, and I love it. And B2B, and the B2C space is completely different, and I love it too. And, I talk to other marketers, and one of the things that's so cool about working direct-to-consumer products is that you do stuff and you can see it happen right away. And so what was really cool about watching what was happening in social with regard to Facebook, with regard to Twitter, with regard to Pinterest, was watching what we were doing strategically on Facebook and then looking at Google Analytics tied to social and seeing how much of social interaction, last two interaction was tied to sales, and Google Analytics will even show you dollars. Mm-hmm. So you sold this much in this time period, but 7,000 of it was directly attributable to a last touch somewhere in the social. So it also helps you justify the fees that you're charging and that the strategy that you're implementing is working. So I think that's very exciting. But it's so Facebook is important. Having a Facebook content strategy that's tied to leads and sales, which not everybody does, is also very important. And handling that in the B2B space is much different than handling it in the B2C space.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you've been quite successful at what you do for a good long while, and I'm sure you must have had some eureka moments where you suddenly discovered something that maybe snuck up on you, something you just had never really thought about before, or something a recent change in the way that search and online commerce is developing. Can you share one of those eureka moments with us? Something that just kind of didn't light a light bulb in your mind, but a bonfire.
Well, that's such a hard question, Doc, because I will tell you, I feel like, um, I've been doing, I've owned my own company for 19 years. I've been a marketer for 25. I'm no dummy about a lot of things. But I feel like to me, it's such an exciting time to be a marketer, to be an SEO professional, to be in content, because I love change, and I love learning, and I love, what's that?
Good thing, huh?
I love change. I love learning. I love experimentation. I love data. So all of those things, and I also am wired in such a way that I can kind of go loose and just trust my instincts, or and not everybody's wired that way. And so, I mean, so I don't have just one thing that's like, oh my God, it never occurred to me to do that, and this is what happened, and oh my God, this is working. I will tell you, I did feel a little bit that way when I implemented Google Social with an e-com business and was able to just get that data. It was just, oh my God, this is better than caramel corn, or whatever it is that you love. So I feel like I have things like that happen on a regular basis. The things that I pay attention to today are much different than the things that I paid attention to 2 or 3 years ago. I'm very focused on marketing automation. I am very focused on how content ties to marketing automation. I'm very focused on lead gen and lead nurturing and how important that is. And, and I think to me that's the next iteration of, it was important for all of us to figure out that your website had to morph beyond an online brochure. And now what fascinates me is websites that actually serve up content in real time based on what they determine your specific needs are, and how that content can change from site visitor to site visitor, and to me that's just like, oh my gosh, and why people wouldn't be paying more attention to that is beyond me. Or I still look at data like the efficacy of email marketing, and I laugh at all the people that talk about how email is dead, and then I look at for my own business and for my clients' businesses, for any people that are looking at data whatsoever, email is the most important channel there is. So there really isn't an aha. The other thing that I think to me that is not necessarily an aha, and certainly not for you people who are here, but for all the idiots that say Google Plus is a wasteland and that's the most stupid thing, and why anybody would want to be on Google Plus, I look at those people and say, who's going to have the last laugh? It is going to be those of us who are there, and who are smart enough to create rich media content, and who are smart enough to have conversations like this that can live on the web, that can serve as a resource for people for a long time to come. So to me, that's today's aha moment. It's every single thing that Google has done has been to make Google Plus more and more and more and more valuable. And for all of us here that are paying attention to it, there are a whole bunch of people that aren't.